Welcome to another episode of Success Blueprint. I'm your host, Scott Hansen, and it's right here on this show that we get the opportunity to really peek behind the curtains and get inside the minds of some of the most successful entrepreneurs, business owners, business execs, media professionals, sports athletes, politicians, and everybody in between doing some really great things in their community. And today is absolutely no different. I'm sitting here with a very talented individual, Jamie Shapiro, from the law firm of Robinson, Shapiro, and Schwartz, which focuses on white-collar criminal activity as well as civil litigation. And just a few accolades about Jamie. He was voted by his peers as Illinois super lawyer, was a judge for 5 years hearing both civil and criminal cases, was an adjunct professor at Loyola University School of Law, and worked in the U.S. Attorney's Office. Am I missing anything?
Well, that pretty much, it's a lot of it, but I also was an adjunct at John Marshall Law School, wow. Scott, for about 6 years, teaching a course that I was pretty passionate about.
Okay.
But Loyola and John Marshall are pretty much the two law schools that I've been affiliated with, right?
Very good, very good. What a resume, what a resume. So I have to ask, I've never interviewed anybody on the show that had the moniker of super in their name. I mean, you were voted by your peers as Illinois super lawyer. How did you get that?
Yeah, well, I went to a tattoo parlor and I had it tattooed on my chest. Actually, they didn't give me the tight shirt with the S on it, so I decided to. No, I wasn't that familiar with the process. All of a sudden, I just kind of got a letter in the mail and saying that I've been voted an Illinois super lawyer. My understanding is that it's a peer review process and that somebody nominates you and votes you onto the island, I guess, and the process is a mystery to me, but I guess it's a nice moniker.
It is a nice moniker. It's cool to have the Illinois super lawyer, one of them, sitting here in the show. So thanks for being on the program. So tell us, how did you actually get started in law? Is it something that you've always had a passion about, or is it something that you maybe followed a family member, and how did it work?
Yeah, it probably is the latter, probably following a family. My dad was a lawyer and also a judge, a part-time judge back in New York where I grew up. And so I probably grew up with it. And, you know, frankly, it's the only profession that I can imagine myself doing. I just can't imagine doing anything else because it gives me the opportunity to help a lot of different kinds of people. So I just can't imagine and couldn't imagine doing anything else, but probably because I grew up with it and I admired my dad.
But you do have a passion for it as well.
I do have a passion for it because I'm interested in law. I like the law, and I like helping people. So it gives me a chance to use my mind and also to help people while doing it. So I am pretty passionate about it. Yes.
That's great. So what besides being passionate about it and helping people, maybe is there another reason why you got into law, and what's great about being an attorney?
Well, for me, I like to write and I like to think. So what I really wanted to do in college was be a sportscaster. I was a play-by-play hockey announcer for my college ice hockey team. So that was kind of my Walter Mitty dream or ambition. Right. But there weren't too many opportunities for that coming out of Trinity College in Harvard. Although it was in the infancy of ESPN, I probably the road not taken. But I thought, it'd probably be a safer road to go to law school and kind of use my mind. And not that I wouldn't use my mind as a play-by-play hockey announcer, but it's more of a gut kind of thing. And I'm happy with the road that I took. It's given me the opportunity to help a lot of people and think a lot, think deeply about issues, write a lot. And so I'm very happy with the road I've taken.
So what's maybe a negative about being an attorney? What's one thing that you wake up and you say, I love what I'm doing, I'm really passionate about it, but this one thing really kind of sticks at me? Well,
I think the one negative thing is probably typical for most attorneys. Some clients, unfortunately, are not appreciative of a lawyer's good work as other clients are. So I get these wonderful, effusive emails complimenting me on my work fairly frequently, and then I have other clients who, and in the criminal field, although probably other fields as well, clients who, I will get a case dismissed for them, and no trial, no nothing, and they'll be unhappy because I didn't do enough work, to do that. I recently got complaints about that. So you almost have to be a little bit lawyer and social worker. So sometimes dealing with the clients can be a little bit challenging, especially the criminal clientele.
So piggyback off of that answer, I would love to know a time. I know that in speaking to you off camera, you talk about that you have definitely some highs and some lows, and you get really embedded in your clients' lives. Tell us about a time when you had a situation that you woke up the next day and said, that's exactly why I do what I do.
Well, to be honest with you, that situation is actually happening today. It's in the process of unfolding today, to be honest with you. Principle of recency, as we say in the law and trial advocacy, the most recent things stick in your mind first. But I have a lawyer client who happens to be also a very difficult drug addiction, and he spent the last over 3 weeks in Cook County Jail as a lawyer. And he came to me because not only am I an attorney and a former judge, but I also happen to sit on the hearing board of the Attorney Registration and Disciplinary Commission, the lawyer disciplinary agency. And I'm trying to save what we call in the law his ticket, his license to practice law. And I was able to get him out of jail on what's called an I bond, which means he'd have to post no money to get out of jail after 23 days, sitting there in the Cook County Jail without any drug treatment at all. And I've basically had to function as social worker while he's been in, communicating with his now ex-girlfriend, his father, his clients and his clients' lawyers, legal assistance program. And today I have to surrender him to an inpatient clinic over here on the west side. So I can't trust him to do it himself, so I actually have to pick him up personally, deliver him over there, and get the paperwork from the inpatient clinic to fax over to the state's attorney's office so the judge does not issue what's called a no bail warrant on Monday for his arrest, in which case there's no amount of money that he could post to get out. And he wasn't getting much treatment, if any, in Cook County Jail, so hopefully he'll be in a better place after this afternoon. So that's the most recent thing going on in my life. And he's a brother lawyer too, which adds a little bit more import to the case. And I'm kind of going beyond my capacity as a lawyer in doing all this, but that's something I'm pretty passionate. That's the helping people part.
So kind of staying on that topic, or maybe even switching gears, as a former judge, as a current attorney, I'm sure you've seen it all. I'm sure you've seen some incredible things throughout your day. What's one of the things that maybe sticks out and you're like, I can't believe he or she just did or said that?
Well, that's an interesting. There's probably a few that I'd have to choose from, but there's one in particular, really kind of one of my smaller cases. But I was sitting in bond court as a judge one day, and you never know. Bond court is like Forrest Gump's box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. But so what I got was this contractor who had swallowed an engagement ring from a family who he had been doing some work for. The couple noticed that the engagement ring was missing, and they confronted him about it, and he proceeded to produce the ring and then swallow it. They arrested him. They called the police arrested him, and he appeared before me in bond court, and I had to set, basically in bond court, what judges are doing are setting a price on people's freedom, what it's going to take for them to get out, and you have to judge their background. And so, but one of the things that I needed to assess in setting bond was whether the couple was able to get their ring back or not. So I had to ask the prosecutor some touchy, awkward questions about whether they were able to recover the ring, and that since he swallowed it, that implied all sorts of awkward issues of how they got the ring back. Right. But ultimately they did, and I'm a big believer in restitution and making victims whole. So they were able to get the ring back, and that affected my setting of bond. At least if the family got the ring back, hopefully cleaned it up and everything, cleaned it up and sterilized it, sanitized it, whatever. Right. If Bill Gates is drinking, drinking that kind of water, then hopefully. But it was still a pretty outrageous thing for him to have done, and I set bond accordingly. But the fact that the couple had the ring back, that was important to me. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So I want to have you share a tip for on the show here. I have all of our thought leaders share tips or success strategies in their field, and in your field, I would love to have you share a tip with our audience that says, if they get pulled over by a police officer, maybe they were out with their boyfriend or their girlfriend or their husband or wife or whoever, what should they do and what shouldn't they do?
Well, it's more what they shouldn't do than what they should do. Well, they should be polite, and definitely the police officers definitely don't like it when motorists are not polite. But you can be as polite as you possibly can, but still refuse to do what the police officer might ask you to do, which is namely step out of your car and perform so-called field sobriety tests if you've been drinking or if they suspect that you've been drinking. They might ask you to do what's called the walk and turn test, 9 steps forward and 9 steps back with a pivot in the middle. Don't do that. Don't do the one-leg stand test, holding your leg up for 30 seconds. A lot of people say they can't do that sober, so definitely don't do it if you've been drinking. Don't follow his finger with your eyes. That's called the horizontal gaze nystagmus test. It's designed to show alcoholic impairment by the twitching of the eyes. Don't do that. And most importantly, don't blow into the breathalyzer either at the scene, it's called a portable breath test, or back at the station, the official breathalyzer. This is about $1 million worth of free advice because it's my favorite case is actually no case, because the consequences to even a DUI, the criminal consequences and the driving consequences are pretty grievous. So if I can save you a case to begin with, or at least make it a defensible case, then it's a word I like to spread around. So don't blow into the breathalyzer, don't do the field sobriety tests, and then call me.
Right. I was going to say, my God, where else can we get $1 million worth of piece of advice only on Success Blueprint? So you heard it from the man himself. Don't blow into the breathalyzer. But if they do, or even if they don't, if they want to get in touch with you, how can people actually get a hold of you or your firm?
Well, the best way would probably be to go to either my personal website or my law firm's website. My personal website is www.judgeshapiroLaw.com. Or my law firm's website is RSS, as in Robinson, Shapiro, and Schwartz -lawyers.com, and they can click on my tab on that site, and I think it'll be transferred to my own personal site, and there'll be a profile. But you can start with JudgeShapiroLaw.com and read all about it. So,
it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, pleasure's mine.
Thank
Scott,
you, Jamie.
Thank you for having me on.
This has been incredible. Thank you so much for all your tips, all your advice. This has been really great. So, if you want to actually be a guest on my show, you can go ahead and email me at scott@scotthproductions.com. Also, as I mentioned before, I'm also a business coach. I help business owners take their business to the next level. If you think you're a good candidate to be a client of mine for your business, you can also email me at scott@scotthproductions.com. Because as always, go out and make it a great day, because you absolutely deserve it. Take care.